One thing that I'm not all that happy about with the car is that it doesn't have a dipstick that I can check the engine lube oil level with. So Mercedes in their wisdom have it in their menu system. So turn your key on just before cranking, okay? I'll just set the camera here carefully. And then use the up button here, this one here, when you're in this position here for the mileage, and go. That first position gives us the coolant temperature. The engine hasn't been running today. Next one gives us our ground speed, which is 0 kilometers per hour. The next one gives us our service due interval period in kilometers. And the next one here, just leave it there for a moment, it's checking the engine level, and it says that the engine oil level is okay. Well, that's all very well, but you know, how far around the okay is it? Is it just okay? Is it a little bit over? Or is it you know, well into okay? I'll just go through it again. One click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, and 4 clicks on the up arrow, and wait a moment. Of course, the car has to be on level ground and the engine not running. Okay, and it says the engine lube oil level is okay. And that's all we can really do. So I'll just turn that part off for a moment. Okay, we'll just go around here for a bit. So down in here, where we'd normally expect to find the dipstick, we just find a little cap that really just blanks off the hole, if you like, where the dipstick would go down. The next one down here is for the transmission. That is dealership only reading, so there must be a little way of lifting that cap off. I think you sort of push the little red cap one side or the other. I haven't actually played with that, and that then releases the cap, and then they put their dipstick down there and get a measurement of the transmission oil level. So before I go for a trip, that's what I do. I get into the car, engine's cold, sitting level in the garage. I go into the menu, check the lube oil level for the engine, and make sure that's okay. Then over here is where our coolant is. Just check I've got my coolant level okay. Under this cover here is where your brake fluid is. You'll find your brake fluid reservoir. Just check on that. Down in here we have on this model it has a standard hydraulic power steering pump. So I just remove this, just check the level on that with its dipstick, and then I have a careful inspection of my serpentine belt, making sure that is all looking good, because that's a pretty important belt. It drives everything on this car. There's just the one belt. It drives the supercharger as well as you know, the power steering, and I'm not sure about the water pump. I haven't looked in enough on that. Probably drives the water pump as well. Yeah, pretty sure the cam chain doesn't drive the water pump. I then just checked that I've got some window washer, that the water level is okay on that, and that's pretty much all you can do on this thing. Check my fuel gauge. You can't check the engine temperature with a gauge. You can go into the menu while the car's running and check your coolant temperature there, so that's not too bad. But I guess Mercedes think that the owners of these cars aren't going to be too concerned about all of those sort of basic mechanical things. They're just going to be enjoying the driving experience. But just me being a bit old school, I just like to make sure we got good lube oil, good coolant, and that everything looks like it's in its correct position before I go off on a journey. Also checking my tires, walk around the vehicle, check my tires, make sure they look all okay, and and then we're pretty much good to go. So if you've got one of these cars, you're probably quite familiar with using that menu. If you haven't got one of these cars and maybe you're looking at buying one and you know, maybe checking it over, the engine has to be off, it has to be on level ground, and then you can check your lube oil level. Okay, that's the filler for it there. Okay, thank you for watching. I think that's all I want to do with this car today. I'll close the hood and that'll be it for today. Thank you for viewing.